Yeah, I'm going well, thanks, Joel. It's going nicely. Obviously, it's exciting times for us. Hopefully, we get a game on Saturday. We're just waiting for the COVID test to come through from the Pumas, but hopefully, we'll get to play them on the weekend, and we'll continue, on our winning way. So hopefully, we'll get a nice result on the weekend.
Jake, what have you learned with this group that you have at the Bulls, and just how the boys are, and how far you can push them?
Gcobani, it's been a really interesting time for me. I've come back to South Africa. I said on the press conference today, the Bulls are a sleeping giant. They haven't won a trophy for 10 years. Everyone that plays rugby in this country will know that the Bulls is a big powerhouse. Juniors have been strong for a long period of time. School systems are very strong. People love rugby in this town. People think the Blue Bulls is only Pretoria. It's not. It's this whole region. It goes up all the way to Limpopo. You've got guys in Messina. You've got guys in Rustenburg. We've got an unbelievable support base. So I've just loved being here. The players want to do well. I think it's nothing better than when you join a franchise for players to want to do well. We've got some unbelievable young talent coming through, and us, as you quite have seen with the squad, some really good senior players that have come in and done well to help the juniors. Guys like Duane and Mornay and Jock van Rooyen, those sort of players have come in and they've been unbelievably beneficial to the way the juniors have come through the ranks.
Jake, it's not been without your challenges. You've had one or two wobblies and maybe a little fortunate to win one or two games. What has been the message, I guess, or the process in terms of solidifying the way you go about things and achieving success?
Joel, it's interesting, I suppose again, because I've got older and I've been around a bit, and I suppose the reason in the beginning we were a little bit, I suppose I've taken over a franchise that didn't know how to win. I've taken over a franchise, I'm talking about senior-wise. I took over a franchise a bit scared to make mistakes. And I think in that first two games, having played badly against the Griquas, and as you rightly say, snuck in a win there, and then then we ended up losing the next game. I think what we needed there was just a little bit of confidence in terms of the fact that things will come right. Things will change. We don't need to, the way we trained and the way we prepared was perfect. I think we just probably got spooked by the pressure. And I used an analogy today with the players. Playing when you're trying to make the cut in golf is pressure, but when you're playing the last hole of the Masters to win the Masters, that's pressure too. And I know which pressure I prefer. I prefer the players to enjoy the fact that you can win championships and that you can have pressure like that. And as I said, the whole message from that time onward was, guys, listen, stop worrying about certain things. Let's just play. You're good enough. If you do the things right, we'll get those things right. And all credit to them. But at the same time, Joel, we also, we realists. We haven't. It's a little bit like a Six Nations. There's only 5 or 6 games. You win the first trophy. So I suppose in a lot of ways it's nice for us to get something under the belt. But, this group of players are going to be together for a couple of years now. Some of them have signed 3-4-year deals. We're looking at playing in Europe next year. We've got another campaign on Currie Cup starting in the next week. So hopefully this will be a little step forward in our progression and our development, and we can just build on this, But winning creates a winning habit, and I'm hoping that as we keep winning, this sort of confidence will grow in the team.
Just as a competition, what have you found challenging, especially this Super Rugby Unlocked? Because there's lots of stop and starts, maybe teams of COVID testers, and there's a lot of those sort of uncertainties that we're not really going to prepare for.
I think the most important thing that I've learned in this Unlocked thing is just you've got to expect the unexpected. I think that we often talk as rugby players, and we often speak about, in the game, that life is a bit like rugby and rugby is a bit like life. And sometimes you have, highs and lows. And I think Doc Craven always spoke about the fact that you've got to adapt and you've got to develop. And I think this Unlock for me just proves that as I said, you don't know what's coming. You've got to think on your feet. I think one of the things that I've learned is that it's a little bit like club rugby was in the old days. Now that you've got a test on a Tuesday, you can't really train on a Monday and a Tuesday, because if you test and you have too many players close together and someone's positive, you basically lose the game on the weekend. So it's a little bit like club rugby was in the old days. You have Monday and Tuesdays off. You come in on a Wednesday, you try and sneak in as much as you can based on the fact that all your players are negative. You train again on Thursday, have a captain's run on Friday, and then you play on Saturday. So it's been, as I said, it's been a little bit, of a different kind of preparation because you want to train Mondays and Tuesdays and really get some detail in. But as it stands now, I think the important thing is to have 23 players available on the weekend, and that's been something that, it's been difficult for the coaches, difficult for the conditioning coaches, and I'm sure it's difficult for the players too because, they've got normal lives. They go home on the weekends and on Saturdays, Sundays after the games, they spend time with their families. They go out, to browse with their mates or whatever, and their wives work. Their wives come home in the evenings. Sometimes they come across COVID, so there's not a foolproof way of making sure you keep the same group of players, and that's been beneficial for us as well because in these difficult times we get a chance to see the other players training and playing as well, which is going to be good for us as a group going forward.
Jack, I'm just looking at that. I think it is going to be probably the norm for the next few weeks, maybe the next couple months as we get to the end of this Carling Currie Cup. But maybe next year, let's maybe cast our eyes forward, the challenge of playing in Europe and maybe firstly walking away from Super Rugby. What are your thoughts on that? Are you happy to walk away from Super Rugby? Are you happy to go to Europe, or are you a little bit reticent on the matter?
Joel, well, I think there's positives and negatives, and it's not sitting on the fence. I think that let's not forget Super Rugby has been very kind to us. We in the time that we've been involved in Super Rugby, we've won 2 World Cups as a South African team. That means that the competition that we've been playing in the Southern Hemisphere has benefited our national team. I know from first hand that having coached in Europe, that's also another exciting avenue for us to go and explore. I know from first hand as well that players have felt that the long tours in the Southern Hemisphere have been a little bit difficult for them and their families. So who knows, maybe the fact that we play in Europe, the fact that we spend more time at home, the fact that our players don't then want to go and play offshore, they want to play here, there might be a lot of bonuses to that. And the fact that we still play the rugby championships and we play the All Blacks every year is still a bonus. So we probably get the best of both worlds, Joel. I think we get to play against the All Blacks and against Australia and Argentina in the rugby championships, but we also get, let's not forget, probably a little bit more money and a little bit more TV time and a little bit more, I suppose, friendly TV viewing for our supporters and for our players that are not going to spend so much time away from home. So, as I said, there's positives and negatives in both places we've played in.